Chapter 25. After the warmth of the incident room, the corridors were blissfully light and cool, though the bold colours, a bright blue pillar here, a red accent wall there, reminded Fraser of a primary school. Pitbull whistled as he walked, hands in pockets, jingling spare change. He made the odd comment about the heat, about Chowdhury. Doesn't mean to be rude, just keen, not had it knocked out of him yet. About how long it took to collate information despite modern technology. Wait until they'd got AI under their belts, then things would start to shift. Pitbull bought a Mars bar to go with his coffee and insisted on paying for Fraser's. No cappuccino like at Worcester, but a perfectly decent flat white.
So, he said, what do you reckon to the John Davis theory?
That's plausible. We might not have a motive for murder, but we have opportunity and possible means, which are often more important.
Accident, like Chowdhury said. Argument got out of hand. If it was some sort of coercive control relationship.
Jealousy, Fraser said, or concern that she was trying to track down her birth mother. Pitbull unwrapped his Mars bar and dipped one end into his coffee, then sucked it appreciatively.
Well, I'll miss your insight over the next few days, unless we manage to wrap it up in the meantime, of course.
Sir? Familiar prickles tracked across Fraser's neck as the words seeped in.
Your sergeant's been on to me, Pitbull said.
Her face must have showed the blankness she felt because he added,
Harley, rural crime. They've made a breakthrough on the horse boxes.
For a moment, she hadn't known who he meant. The faces of several previous sergeants flashed across her mind, coming to rest on Joe Simmons, who'd given her the maxim of relentless friendliness. Simmons was far away in London, and probably retired by now. No, Pitbull had meant Mike Harley, well-meaning, thorough, and never going to set the world on fire, but more than competent to keep the horsebox investigation ticking over.
He called just before the briefing, but I thought it could wait till we finished. You're needed, Pitbull said. They've had intel on a job planned tonight and want to stage an op. Be there waiting for them. You'll need to oversee it, obviously.
It took a few moments for the meaning to filter through to Fraser's brain. Of course. This case. Anna Price, Marianne, the bunkhouse in the shadow of the Devil's Chair, was not hers. Her job, her concern, was to find whoever was behind the spate of horsebox thefts. Perhaps it had been the timing. A murder investigation 4 weeks into her new role as head of the Rural Crime Unit. Not long enough for her to reset her mind, learn her new priorities. For a good 12 years, serious and organised crime had been her every day. Now they were someone else's responsibility. Not that she thought her job in rural crime was less important. When she was a child, her dad had impressed upon her the importance of doing any job to the best of her ability. Otherwise, how could she gain satisfaction from it? He'd been a farmer, running his own business, but not too proud to work on the Calmac ferries when money was tight. She had made it her mantra throughout her working life, even at 16, stacking shelves in the spa in Salon. Perhaps the mystery of Anna Price's death had captured her in a way that stolen horseboxes never could, however great an impact the thefts had on innocent people. The layers of tragedy revealed by the body found in the Devil's Pool. First Anna, then Lucy. Marianne and the violation of her new life and hard-won peace. The sadness of what had gone before. Even the landscape, bleak and stony, had ensnared her. Right, she said, downing the rest of her coffee. Better get over there, I suppose. Pitbull popped the last chunk of Mars bar into his mouth and chewed vigorously, taking a slurp of coffee. You'll follow up on the archaeologists, will you? She said. Or do you want me to do that later? His mouth was still laced with chocolate and caramel, as he assured her there was little point until they'd had a chat with John Davis.
One thing we sometimes lose sight of, he said, is that it's often the simplest solution. What did we say right from the start? That it was most likely the boyfriend. A controlling relationship, a history of violent arguments, and now it turns out he's most likely been there all along, hiding under a false ID. Why would he have done that if he was innocent?
Fraser got up. She agreed with him about simple solutions. Was it her ego protesting that they weren't following up on her idea? Quite possibly. "I'd better be off, sir. Horsebox raids wait for no one, as they say." If her jollity was forced, either he didn't notice or care. Maybe this had been his plan ever since he'd bollocked her for becoming too involved with Marianne, biding his time until an opportunity came to sideline her. Pitbull stood up, tucking his shirt in again. He held out a hand across the table to shake hers. It felt oddly formal.
"I've been grateful for your help, dear Fraser, and for the loan of Corby. Cracking little officer, that."
The mild hint of sexism rankled, though she suspected it was unconscious on his part.
"And I'll keep you updated on any progress. Best of luck tonight."
So that was it. Thank you and good night. Not quite wham bam, thank you ma'am, but it felt a little bit like it. Fraser deliberately put energy in her step as she strode along the corridor and up the stairs to the Rural Crime Office. It was in the Fuller Wing, named after some long-gone chief constable whose photograph graced the lobby, and as far away from the business end of the station as possible. Quiet, just as rural crime should be. In keeping with the primary colours, its door was a solid dark yellow, almost mustard. Fraser's fingertips were on the handle when her phone rang in her pocket. A number that she recognised, but not in her list of contacts. From the list of bunkhouse residents, she guessed. Not Martin Davis, of that she was sure. She held it to her ear as she swiped to accept the call. "Dear Fraser, how can I help?" There was nothing at first. A scuffling noise like a rabbit surprised in its hutch. Then a cough.
"D.I. Fraser? It's Wiltshire. Sam Wiltshire."
Despite her incipient gloom, Fraser smiled. Was the man's nickname so embedded that even he called himself by it? A quickening followed. Was it a coincidence that he had called just after she had been through the movements of the archaeologists with a fine-toothed comb? More than likely, but still interesting. The horseboxes could wait for a moment. She pushed the door open and held it with her foot. Harley and Thomas, her other constable, spun round, and she signalled to them she was on the phone, held up 2 fingers to indicate minutes, then let the door slide shut again. "What can I do for you, Dr. Wiltshire?"
"I just wondered."
His voice was hesitant, the West Country accent pronounced.
"If you'd be coming out to the bunkhouse today."
She remembered how he had sweated and fidgeted when she'd questioned him up at the dig and in the interview room. "I'm afraid I have something on for the rest of the day. D.S. Chowdhury and D.C. Corby are on their way over to you now, if that's any help." She heard the scuffling sound again and wondered if he was fiddling with the beads in his beard.
"No, I think I need to speak to you. I don't know."
"Can you tell me now? Over the phone?"
"I don't. Yes, I suppose so. It's just something I remembered. It might not even be anything."
Hurry him, and he might bolt. Fraser pushed open the door and went into the office, held up her hand to her officers again, mouthed, "Give me 5 minutes, lads," smiled and stuck her thumb up. Their excitement, their sense of purpose was palpable. She owed it to them to get fully on board. But first, Wiltshire Sam. She sat down at her desk and pulled a notebook towards her. "Why don't you tell me it as you remember, Dr. Wiltshire? We can worry about the rest later."